We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Thank you. I'm so in love with you. All of you. I can't. That song, that last song, sort of filled with it. There's no distance. There's no distance in love's embrace. And I'm humbled and blessed to be here and available for whatever is said and shared and whatever we create here. And we begin by welcoming each other in the sanctuary as Marisol plays We Are Awakening. Our statement of purpose. We are an assembly of equals joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and rest in its embrace. There's no distance. The eyes are crying, the heart is open. For today's gathering, it's core value number 3 that was chosen. We accept one true self, which is one presence or being, non-dual, without beginning or end, and absolutely changeless. We live this value by practicing letting go of the belief in the individual self as who we are. And now we move to announcements. Now I get to introduce the first song. Happy New Year, 2025. And though it's just another day and they're all just numbers, it is symbolically an opportunity to begin anew. We are only ever here now, and in this moment, we can sink into our intention, our desire, and perhaps we're also willing to let go of everything we think we know. This first song is called New Soul. Perhaps it'll speak for itself. Marisol? Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for everything. By way of invocation or setting the intention for this space in this moment, it is that sense of gratitude. There's a desire here to invite everyone to join me in just this space of recognizing that from a place of the known, there's no real way of truly understanding or being a realization of what brought us to this moment, right? But there is this divine love that has never stopped supporting us, never stopped guiding us, regardless of how our various personalities might have had moments of resistance, kicking or screaming or begging for something else. Somehow we are here now. And so there is an invitation here and now for all of us to allow that to inform whatever it is we're creating and whatever is flowing through us. So that is my prayer, my invocation, that no part of the fear and the constriction and the belief in the Cyndi story gets in the way of whatever it is truth would have be expressed during this gathering. And I am inspired once again to just say that I am madly in love with this Sangha. And there are tears, and there's a heart softening and opening. I don't know how Cyndi got here, but I am in love with whatever brought us here. Yeah. And so that kind of leads to the first the reading for today. Glad I'm not the one reading. I love being able to say yes to facilitating these gatherings, and I get the date. This is the way it works for me, right? I get the date, and then I sit. This time around, I heard the name of my reader, and it was funny because something wanted to resist it, not because she isn't one of my closest friends, and it might be one of the last times she gets to read, because I expect perhaps we'll be celebrating her ordination sooner rather than later, and we'll see. In part, there was a resistance because, for the most part, every time I've led a gathering, I've had a different reader, and something was proud of that. And Rona's been my reader before, but every day, the guidance was and to ask Rona to read, and she said yes. And then I wondered what the reading would be. I had no clue, and something, the personality wanted to control the reading based on wherever I was. But then I sat and I saw the Book of Knowledge by Miguel Ruiz, and took it off the shelf and sent Rona an email saying, which one of Miguel's books do you have? And she said, Four Agreements. I said, okay, so the reading must come from there. But no, it came from the Book of Knowledge. So what Rona is going to read is a fable. It's a Toltec tale about Adam and Eve, another way of looking at it. And we chose the reading, and then we began. Some of us have begun Jesus in the New Testament. And just in the last few days, I listened to Regina's 1 hour audio that begins the class. And she reminded me that everything that's not in my direct experience is a story. And when we believe aspects of our story, whether it's my story or Jesus's story or the Toltec tale, if we cling to something as being true within the story, we limit our ability to allow for something new to arise. So this is a cool story. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not, but it's another way of looking. And it's pretty cool. And it actually is very useful in informing where I am on the path. And so, Rona, thank you so much for reading the Toltec tale of Adam and Eve for us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Cyndi. I'm so grateful to be of service to the Sangha here. The Voice of Knowledge, Don Miguel Ruiz with Janet Mills. Excerpt from Chapter 1. What is truth is real. What is not truth is not real. It's an illusion, but it looks real. Love is real. It's the supreme expression of life. Adam and Eve, the story from a different point of view. A beautiful and ancient legend that almost everyone has heard before is the story of Adam and Eve. It is one of my favorite stories because it explains with symbolism what I will try to explain with words. The story of Adam and Eve is based on absolute truth, though I never understood it as a child. It is one of the greatest teachings ever, but I believe that most people misunderstand it. Now I will tell you this story from a different point of view, perhaps from the same point of view as the one who created it. The story is about you and me. It's about us. It's about all of humanity because, as you know, humanity is only one living being. Man, woman, we are only one. In this story, we call ourselves Adam and Eve, and we are the original humans. The story begins when we were innocent, before we closed our spiritual eyes, which means thousands of years ago. We used to live in paradise, in the Garden of Eden, which was heaven on earth. Heaven exists when our spiritual eyes are open. It is a place of peace and joy, freedom, and eternal love. For us, Adam and Eve, everything was about love. We loved and respected one another, and we lived in perfect harmony with all of creation. Our relationship with God, our Creator, was a perfect communion of love, which means that we communed with God all the time, and God communed with us. It was inconceivable to be afraid of God, the one who created us. Our Creator was a God of love and justice, and we put our faith and trust in God. God gave us complete freedom, and we used our free will to love and enjoy all of creation. Life was beautiful in paradise. The original humans saw everything through the eyes of truth, the way it is, and we loved it. That is the way we used to be, and it was effortless. Well, the legend says that in the middle of paradise stood two trees. One was the tree of life, which gave life to everything in existence, and the other was the tree of death, better known as the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge was a beautiful tree with juicy fruit, very tempting. And God told us, don't go near that tree of knowledge. If you eat the fruit of that tree, you may die. Of course, no problem. But by nature, we love to explore, and surely we went to pay a visit to the tree. If you remember the story, you can already guess who lived in that tree. The tree of knowledge was the home of a big snake full of poison. The snake is just another symbol for what the Toltec call the parasite, and you can imagine why. The story says that the snake who lived in the tree of knowledge was a fallen angel who used to be the beautiful one. As you know, an angel is a messenger who delivers God's message, a message of truth and love. But for who knows what reason, the fallen angel no longer delivered the truth, which means he delivered the wrong message. The fallen angel's message was fear instead of love. It was a lie instead of truth. In fact, the story describes the fallen angel as the prince of lies, which means that he was an eternal liar. Every word coming out of his mouth was a lie. According to the story, the prince of lies was living in the tree of knowledge, and the fruit of that tree, which was knowledge, was contaminated with lies. We went to that tree and we had the most incredible conversation with the prince of lies. We were innocent. We didn't know. We trusted everyone. And there was the prince of lies, the first storyteller, a very smart guy. Now the story gets a little more interesting because that snake by itself had a story of its own. That fallen angel talked and talked and talked, and we listened and listened and listened. As you know, when we are children and our grandparents tell us stories, we are eager to hear everything they tell us. We learn, and it's very seductive. We want to know more. But this was the Prince of Lies talking. No doubt about it, he was lying, and we were seduced by the lies. We believed the fallen angel's story, and that was our mistake. That is what it means to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. We agreed and took his word as the truth. We believed the lies. We put our faith in them. When we bit into the apple, we ate the lies that came with knowledge. What happens when we eat a lie? We believe it, and boom, now that lie lives in us. This is easy to understand. The mind is very fertile ground for concepts, ideas, and opinions. If someone tells us a lie and we believe it, that lie takes root in our mind. There, it can grow big and strong, just like a tree. One little lie can be very contagious, spreading its seeds from person to person when we share it with others. Well, the lies went into our mind and reproduced a whole tree of knowledge inside our head, which is everything that we know. But what is it that we know? Mostly lies. The tree of knowledge is a powerful symbol. The legend says that whoever eats the fruit of the tree of knowledge will have knowledge of good and evil. They will know the difference between what is right and wrong, what is beautiful and what is ugly. They will gather all that knowledge and begin to judge. Well, that is what happened in our head. And the symbolism of that apple is that every concept, every lie is just like a fruit with a seed. When we place a fruit in fertile ground, the seed of the fruit creates another tree. That tree reproduces more fruit, and by the fruit, we know the tree. Now, each of us has our own tree of knowledge, which is our personal belief system. The tree of knowledge is the structure of everything we believe. Every concept, every opinion forms a little branch of that tree until we end up with the whole tree of knowledge. As soon as that tree is alive in our mind, we hear the fallen angel talking very loudly. The same fallen angel, the Prince of Lies, lives in our mind. From the Toltec point of view, a parasite was living in the fruit. We ate the fruit, and the parasite went inside us. Now the parasite is living our life. The storyteller, the parasite, is born inside our head, and it survives inside our head because we feed it faith. With the parasite inside our head, we began to perceive the world in a completely different way, and everything changed for us. With the tree of knowledge in our head, we could only perceive knowledge. We could only perceive lies. We no longer lived in heaven because lies have no place in heaven. That is how humans lost paradise. We dream lies. We create the whole dream of humanity individually and collectively based on lies. Before humans ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, we lived in truth. We spoke only truth. We lived in love without fear. After we ate the fruit, we felt guilt and shame. We judged ourselves as no longer good enough, and of course we judged others the same way. With judgment came polarity, separation, and the need to punish and be punished. For the first time, we were no longer kind to one another. We no longer respected and loved all of God's creation. Now we suffered, and we began to blame ourselves, to blame other people, and even to blame God. We no longer believed that God was loving and just. We believed that God would punish and hurt us. It was a lie. It was not true, but we believed it, and we separated from God. How many lies do you hear in your head? Who is judging? Who is talking? Who is the one with all the opinions? If you don't love, it's because that voice doesn't let you love. If you don't enjoy your life, it's because that voice doesn't let you enjoy it. Thank you.
Have I mentioned yet how much I love this song? Yes, I agree with Marisol. It was a phenomenal reading. Thank you, Rona. One of the things that has been coming up for me over and over and over again is this recognition that I have at this point pretty much invested my life and most of my waking time as a Cyndi in these truth teachings, and extracting the same basic truths from all of them and giving my willingness to meet Cyndi's life with them. And it blows me away how often the Cyndi personality or the imposter self, whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden finds herself somewhat contracted or fearful or judging another, whatever you want to say, right? It doesn't make any sense if you stand still. If the truth is true, then God is all there is. God is all there is. There's the Brahman, the supreme consciousness, the Tao, the isness, that is at the root or the foundation of all that's real. And I can't even begin to describe how much energy is moving through the various parts of me right now. So this story clearly states this is the way it is for me, and this is where I want us to be, because apparently there's another story I'm about to tell. We can call it fear, or lies and truth. Another word for a lie is fear. If you discover within your story in any given place you are defending yourself or attacking another, you are comparing your life to another, you are judging, you feel a sense of urgency or not enoughness, if you really are very clear with any of that, you will notice fear. Fear is a lie. My buddy Joel Goldsmith states that there is only one power: God, love, truth. In the world of two powers, and this is the way it's pictured so useful for me, the world of two powers exists only in the ocean that blocks the desert road. The reason why that is so useful for me is because if I'm driving down a desert road and I see the ocean in front of me and I believe that the ocean is real, the car gets stopped and I don't go any further. If I recognize that the ocean in front of me is a mirage, a mesmerism, part of the illusion, then I keep driving and the ocean will disappear. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Every aspect of fear that exists in the Cyndi story anyway feels like a threat, feels like the need to defend or justify. According to A Course in Miracles, though, it can't be real. Joel tells me it's not real. The Tao tells me it's not real. It's all a balancing. Now, not real doesn't mean the experience isn't happening. But where am I putting my faith? In this reading, it said that the reason fear is being fed, the lies are being fed, is because our sense of humanity is putting our faith in the lies, in the need to defend and attack, in the need to fear. It's not true, though. This Sangha knows it's not true. We keep coming back. We keep bringing the fear in all its different story variations to the light, right? And we're holding it collectively. And in the years that I've been part of this community, it's clear to me that the fears are weakening. And we are a collective, right? We're like awakening together. How crazy. But it's true, right? And if you get real quiet and you sink into it, don't you see it? So if we accept that fear, as real as it feels, is illusory, it's a projection. And in order for it to continue to grow within us, we need to give it our faith. What if we withdraw our faith? What if we accept that all of these different teachings that we contemplate and study and play with here are true? Then we show up every day and do the best we can. And we accept ultimately that only the truth is true. And only love is real. And even though that may not be effective in as a spiritual aspiration right here, because a lot of what's not true is still affecting me. And so we've been taught in Awakening Together, or I've been taught in Awakening Together, that the best place to be is where I am. Whatever fear is alive here. And if I accept where I am, then the next step becomes available to me. And I can trust that only love is real. But right now there's a story of fear. So I get to come to my Sangha and expose the fact that there's fear here, there's contraction, there's worry. I may not believe it's real, but it's having its way, and we get to express it and be here and allow for it. And then somehow a door gets open into something that is a little bit less fearful until we get to the point of knowing and being able to express and assume and embody the truth of who we are. It's such a glorious experience to watch our faith in the truth continue to increase, which gives us the ability to allow more of what's hidden to be exposed. So even when it feels really uncomfortable to expose what was hidden, we get to be in this place of, oh my God, this hurts. Yay. And the most recent one for me yesterday, there's been a part of the Cyndi story that says that I'm not seen. Unless I'm in service, I am invisible. And I have a lot of little pointy stories that will tell you that it's true, that I'm ignored if I'm in pain, so it's not safe, right? Yesterday, Spirit clearly told me, you know what, Cyndi, you're not invisible. You're just a phenomenal hider. And that shifts the understanding that if the world isn't seeing me, it's because there's a piece of this personality that has become an expert at hiding itself, is extraordinarily uncomfortable. Like I have to let go of a huge chunk of the Cyndi timeline and all these different stories that prove that I am invisible, and have them be rewritten in a higher way, acknowledging that that was a choice. I'm allowing the fact that I just said that out loud to settle in here. So here's what came this morning, um, while I was sitting with all of this and looking about reclaiming ourselves. The reclaiming ourselves in a higher and higher vibration never ends, by the way. We get to do it perhaps 10,000 times a minute, you know. Um, it's a movie, and I apologize because I'm going to give up some of the details of a movie you may or may not have seen, but it came to me in a new way this morning as I sat and allowed for this gathering. And the name of the movie is Brooklyn. I don't know if you haven't seen it. It's a beautiful movie. And the first couple of times I've seen it, it was just a beautiful love story. But here's the way Spirit gave it to me this morning. There is a young girl in the early 1900s living in a small village in Ireland with her sister and her mother, and she's living a very, very, very small life, and she's in a lot of pain. There's no real job. People are beating up on each other. There is a lot of contraction and there's a lot of fear. Not a lot of food and very little hope. This young girl is given an opportunity to get on a boat through her priest, and she gets on a boat all by herself. And that first journey, she is throwing up. She is seasick. She is fearful. She has no idea what's going on. She survives that first fearful journey, and she steps off into a brand new world. And she is homesick, and she is scared, and she keeps showing up. She's given a job. She doesn't know what to do. And she keeps showing up day in and day out and day in and day out. And she gets to go to school. She excels. She meets an Italian. Man, for an Irish girl to meet an Italian. And she starts to fall in love, and she starts to create a new life, right? Brand new. And she's getting happy. And she forgets about the homesickness for just a little while. Let this be your story, right? And then what happens is she gets news that her sister died, and her heart breaks. She secretly marries the Italian. I'm telling it all. I'm sorry, but it's all part of the story, right? She secretly marries the Italian so she can have that night of love. And she gets back on the boat, only this time she's wearing fancy clothes, nylons. She knows how to put a bathing suit on underneath her clothes and not have to get naked. Like all these different things, she's sophisticated, and she goes back into her old world. And the old world invites her to be now a big fish in the little pond. She's her mother's expecting her to stay and take care of her because that's what a good daughter does. You know, the mother is all alone now, except she has her big fancy daughter. She gets a job, you know, she has a degree, she gets a job. The richest boy in the village wants to marry her. She has friends, and she's watching, and she stops for a little while answering the Italian's letters, which are almost impossible for this boy to write because he was never very good at school. And she's confused again, and she starts to forget. But the thing is, love finds us no matter where we are. And the lies will always remind us when we're not in truth. And those lies like shook her to a core, the lies, the fear, the whatever, while she was in this village, right? We can never forget. We could delay, but we're never not who we are. And love never stops calling us. And fear never stops causing a contraction, only when we've tasted the truth, when we've tasted the possibilities. Then they're alive and they grow in us more and more and more. And the fear and the contraction of the little pond that can no longer contain her blew. But she didn't just leave this time, right? This time she honestly sat with her mother. She honestly sat and spoke her truth. And then she stepped back onto the boat into the unknown, trusting, allowing love to call her. I didn't see, like, it's a very, very good movie, by the way. So enjoy the movie. The lesson of the movie, though, didn't drop until I sat still for this gathering. The recognition that no matter where you think you are right now, there's the story of who you are is a mask, it's a covering. It can't. We are awakening together, right? And there are a whole bunch of holes in the story of who you think you are. If what you think you are is something other than me, something other than what created you, which was love, which is the consciousness. So that's who we are. And that is continually calling us into the experience of that, the embodiment and the expression of that. And it will, as we continue to say yes, become increasingly uncomfortable to believe that we're something other than that. I've been running into this experience over and over and over again in the last weeks and months, where it's becoming more difficult to stomach the judgments that show up in the conditioning. Now, these judgments, for anyone that knows me, I'm pretty open and connected, and I'm willing to sit with pretty much anyone. I love us very much. But even these thoughts that say you should do something different, or what I am is any version of what I am is not you, or I've taken a different path, or if you only knew, it doesn't matter. These little voices that somehow say that you and I are different, they hurt. They're starting to really hurt here. And then there's the ego that says, Cyndi, man, are you nasty, judgmental, fear-filled? And then I'm realizing, no, that's just the human condition, right? That's just that fear voice, the lie that wants to continually try to get this system to feed it so it can exist. But it doesn't really matter, because everyone here, everyone that's listening to this has already said yes, right? We're doing this together. We're holding space in this field together. We can't turn back. Not only that, trying to go back and be a big fish in a little pond, well, we could try it, but you know what? It hurts. It physically hurts. So this is based on the linear calendar, it's a new year, right? We can claim anew over and over and over and over again, right here, right now. When the fear hits, when the sense of less than hits, when the I am bad belief kind of colors our field of view, we have all the tools here. This gathering isn't about teaching tools. We have the tools. And the biggest tool, awareness, choosing to accept, oh, look at that. You know, depending on where you are and all the different programs and practices, you may know what the superconductor is. We've spent a lot of time and, you know, with Leo, some of our different courses, and, you know, we, NTI 500, we could be a superconductor. We can remember the truth. I give credit to gentle healing probably a year or two when I learned very clearly that regardless of what the mind tells me, I am always putting my faith in something. We're always putting our faith in something. And in that Toltec story, clearly stated, and it was very funny because I typed it up for Rona, right? And I didn't use that word faith. I don't even remember what I said. But that Toltec story clearly stated that the reason that the fear is continually creating this virus is because the human has put its faith in it. At Awakening Together, you know, I learned in these classes that I can choose where I place my faith, even if this system is going haywire. And I invite you to be conscious about where your faith is. For me, my faith is in the Tao, in the Supreme Brahman, in the fact that I can choose to trust love. I was recently asked in another, I've been immersed in the teachings of the guides and Paul Selleck and the channeling that's happening right now. And there was an exercise in a book on love where he said, go outside and ask your true self, take a walk. And while you're walking, ask your true self what it is that you desire. And there was something in my mind that said, that's not going to work. But I did it I found myself, I did it anyway. I put a coat on, I put shoes on, and within 20 steps, I learned that what is going to be expressed through me, that my true self's highest desire is to be at the embodiment, to know that I am just divinely loved, cherished, and fully cared for. And I'm always supported and never alone. That the embodiment and expression of my happiness is to be celebrated. And it's safe. It's safe to know the truth of who we are. The belief that it's not safe is what feeds fear. And for a little while, and man, if I were to say, if anything changed my life right now with Regina in the room, there was a period of time where I immersed myself in all of the early teachings of Regina for X number of months. Every time I wasn't doing something else, I was listening to those teachings. Not this, I'm doing the snippets with Jacqueline and Connie and the group now, but there was a period of time early in my experience with Awakening Together where I couldn't stop listening to the early teachings. And what the early teachings taught me, among many other things, is that being okay with feeling afraid, like not trying to fix the fear, but allowing it to be here and trusting the truth anyway, to the best of my ability in any given moment, was part of the secret sauce. Was perhaps the secret sauce, you know. I walked around, I heard it in somewhere from these early teachings, faith the size of an atom behind the right ear. Love is real. Love is real. And all we have to do is stop feeding the fear, no matter how it shows up in our story. Thank you for being here. Beyond grateful that I live a life where not only have I been pulled into the practice and the yearning and the overwhelming desire to be the embodiment of truth, but I get to do it with you. Oh, amazing. We got a song and Soulshine, Playing for Change. Amazing. And while Marisol plays that song, she's also going to drop a link. We are a church, and if it is in your heart to donate to Awakening Together, there will be a link. And I think somewhere there's also there it is, donate here, a barcode. If you are guided to donate, please visit blah, blah, blah. There you have it. Marisol, Soulshine. I love every part of that song and that video. One of my favorite parts is the socks and all the underwear lined up on the clothesline behind the singers, just reminding me that we are not turning away from our humanity. We are allowing our humanity to know the truth of who we are. We still get to be divinely human. It's so phenomenal. All right, we have some minutes left for anyone who would like to share. Please, Rona.
Thank you, Cyndi. Thank you, everyone. What a great experience. And I just have to share that as I was reading, I read this a couple times before just to be familiar with it. But the actual experience of reading it here, we went to the tree. We had the most incredible conversation with the Prince of Lies. We were innocent. We didn't know. We trusted everyone. And I almost broke apart right there because, there is this child inside of me that for the longest time, it was like, you're too naive. You always get sucked in, but there's such a beautiful love and innocence to that, and to be able to trust again. Like, I don't have to trust people anymore. I can trust this inner guide and then trust from there. And so, man, it really touched me and it was just gorgeous. Thank you for allowing me to read today.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to say anything while the recording is on? If not, there is another song that I haven't actually played in a homily, or in any of my sites before, though it is Nirvana, Playing for Change. The song is a Nirvana song, Come As You Are. Feels like perhaps a good way to end. What do you say, Marisol? That's our time, folks. Love us. Handing the mic over to Marisol. Thank you so much. I love us.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.